Hello everyone, I all hope you are very much quite have a wonderful, blessed, great, blessed holiday as well as you quietly guys enjoyed it. Sorry for the misconception of actually trying to tell I was gonna actually shoot on Monday, but I didn't exactly know that it was actually holidays coming in on that very specific week that we're actually in. So I'll make it very clear to you guys. Next week will be our last shooting out of all the episodes and all of that as well until the holidays come to pass, which you'll be able to exactly shoot again. But despite that, guys, I'm very grateful for all of your guys' support and for you guys exactly tuning in to my entire YouTube channel. And for those of you in TikTok, and for those of you who are also commenting and following me in TikTok and subscribing to my channel in YouTube, and from all of you guys in Shorts. With that being said as well, guys, have a blessed day and enjoy yourself as well. Let me actually make it quick before the recording cuts me off completely because it's unpredictable as well. And I'm also trying to precisely check the time as well, making sure that the timing of the recording never completely cuts me off so that I can exactly get it done on time so that you can also receive the full episode of the entire recording. But regardless of that, guys, I'm very grateful for all of you guys from shorts and long videos. So staying with me on my journey, please continue to do so and tell your friends and family to subscribe if they're also quietly interested in with villains, monsters, and supernatural creatures, which will be very much likely grateful for me as well in my journey as well. But regardless of that, guys, totally grateful for your guys' support. It means a lot to me. Keep staying with me, keep sticking with me. Love you all and have a blessed day. On today's episode, we're to speak about an ancient and powerful, formidable super villain, deadly ever dark, powerful super villain organization, which was quietly formed by the most powerful ancient beings that existed before everything else completely existed, even before after sacred history was quietly ever formed and ever formed and also quietly ever known as well, which makes these villains and these forces of evil highly very ancient, very dangerous, and very deadly, and very powerful, and very sinister. They are a group of super ancient, super dark ancient founders who are the descendant of the original progenitors, who are the actual greatest descendants of the original progenitors as well, who also have a sinister objective to controlling the entire sacred galactic wars, and especially by trying to controlling sacred society and the entire sacred world in the process, so they can have full total dominance over the sacred universe and over the entire known universe, especially within the sacred great nation sectors and known sister worlds as well. They are very ancient and they are very powerful and also very unlikely to be dangerous as well. So let's proceed. Before before everything else was quietly remade and reborn in the entire image of the sacred universe, these ancient powerful secretive apprentices of the great progenitors, who are also progenitors themselves, had a powerful, secretive, deadly goal of their own to controlling the entire sacred galactic war for themselves, which in other words would literally appoint them to becoming the sole supreme rulers of everything else throughout the entire millennia before the birth of the four nation hunters, and the birth of the supernaturals and the birth of the aliens. These greater apprentices and proteges of the greater progenitors, who are also progenitors themselves, began a very sinister goal of their own to controlling the outcome of sacred history, to which they would need a child of destiny in order for them to furthering their ultimate goals for their future preparation. During the outcome of the early stages of their plan, they frequently clash with the most powerful, deadliest sacred founders of all time, and the other children of destiny, who are also known by the children of prophecy, who turned to the good side than rather to the evil side. They fought, and the entire wars literally destroyed thousands of worlds and thousands of planets in the process, resulting in many exterminations of other sister worlds and other sister civilizations in the process. These dark progenitors discovered that the sacred founders were posing a threat, as well as the children of prophecy, to which they discovered a way and a plan in order to hide themselves within the shadows before everything else came to pass, to which the sacred founders and the rest of his followers and the rest of his other descendants decided it is best to vanquish them before they can completely destroy the entire sacred world. in the process as well. Over the following centuries, after the great battle with these ancient forces of evil, since they actually fought up against them within their own sacred universe, they have been remaining in the shadows, literally watching and keeping tabs of everything that's been happening within the entire sacred universe, making sure that the balance of power and the sacred galactic war is under their sole supreme control without anyone else knowing that, especially with the sacred founder not knowing that they are the ones pulling the strings from the shadows. Over the following centuries, they would always appear by controlling everything and every outcome of the war since the great passing and the great death of the sacred founder, by trying to altering its outcome and also the fate of the sacred wars. During the following stages of the great centuries, these ancient powerful founders of these ancient dark founders would remain within the shadows, watching, listening to everything else, while they secretly been planning a powerful cooperative network of powerful, dangerous super criminals and ancient supervillains who would work in their favor. Over the following centuries, they have remained quiet within the shadows, watching the most powerful force of evil rises and ascending, while the other one rises, while the other one falls, while the other one completely rises, such as Lord Destiny and the ancient dark Phoenician hunter supervillain known as the Fallen during the age of darkness, to where he rose to the occasion and ascended as well, to where they've been heavily been watching and instigating some events and some wars to their favors in order to benefit the controlling of the sacred galactic wars to their own personal favor. And by doing so, these dark founders literally kept watch of everything by dispatching sleeper agents within the sacred great clans that will quietly literally in turmoil against each other, to which the Phoenician hunter founders such as 4th, 2, and 6 and the other founders of the sacred hunter nations rose to the occasion and still manipulated the events to their own advantages for many centuries and for many millennia. The organization kept within the shadows for many decades before all the other ancient secret societies ever were formed and ever were quietly made, such as the Order of the Five, since they were all quietly present during the ancient time, and such as the Founders, and such as the Order of the Six, the Galactic, and the Order of the Four, and as well as the Court of Nature, Sacred Five, and as well as the Court of Nature, Sacred Five, and the Sacred Circle as well. By keeping tabs of these ancient secret societies, they are the ones that actually helped them and enlisted their expertise to them throughout the shadows of the entire sacred universe as well. And also by giving the Shadow Empire its current state of its dominant force and its dominant power as well. In also doing so, they managed to actually help the previous ancestors of the Shadow Empire before the Shadow Empire was ever formed, which became a powerful, dark, sinister, ancient organization of its own that built a powerful symbolic octopus creature with unknown tentacles, which actually symbolizes its power and its true nature as well, to which they exactly instigated this organization's help and its true resources as well. With that exactly being said, the organization still manages to run within the shadows of humanity for the past few decades and for the past few centuries as well, with literally being in secret communication with these ancient, dark, powerful, sacred forces of evil, such as the Dark Founders, who are also the progenitors of their species and of their kind as well, who are also as well as the apprentices and proteges of the original sacred progenitors known as the Sacred Founders and known as a Sacred Shadowy Founder as well. To that end as well, that these powerful Dark Founders helped the original Lord of Magic rise to power and take control of the Shadow Empire by altering the Shadow Empire's favor and its power balance to their control in order for the original Lord of Magic, who is quietly known by a different name and by different aliases known as Laurel, for him to take up the mantle and the legacy of the Shadow Empire and to turning it into a destructive goal of its own way. Throughout the many following centuries, these dark founders remained within the shadows, watched everything, kept everything on the loop, manages to keep the organization very secretive and very ancient and very powerful. As I said before, they're ancient and powerful dark group of supervillains who want nothing but supreme control over sacred society and over the entire sacred great nations and the rest of the sacred star system world, and the rest of the entire sacred star system, worlds, and planets, and all of its other universes as well. They've been driven by a dark desire and by a dark goal to ending all conflicts and to ending all wars with a singular purpose and drive by doing so all by doing it so all together as one. And with that also being said, these powerful dark founders manages to help instigate many ancient supervillain secretive societies as one in order to help them reforming their organizations and giving them power and the resources they needed as well. On the earlier years, this dark group was able to reconvene on a darker, powerful cave in the seriously by projecting themselves through their shadowy astral projection in order to conceal their true identities, where they all exactly convene as the members discovered that their planning must begin to take place, meaning effectively immediately after all the events and everything else has been taking place, with all the wars and with all the conflicts, such as the cultured war, the martial war, the ancient war, the dark magical war, the still war, the unknown war, the sacred war, the Four-Nation Hunter war, monster war, dark dimension war, eternal wars, and the unknown splitting wars, and the secretive several wars, the seven wars, the water wars, the dark war, the Great Brigade War, the Great Brigade War, and all the unknown wars as well, to which they all discovered that it's time for them to begin taking their rightful place, and that the Four-Nation Hunters have proven to become an obstacle that cannot exactly withdraw by force, with the origins being exterminated by the original Lord of Magic, to which the other members agreed that it's time for them to pull up the true tactical of their planning and of their goal as well. On the earlier years, they managed to remain in communication with the most powerful dark magic users, known as the Dark Druids, the Dark Witches, and the Dark Faithful, telling them that it's best that they keep working with the original Lord of Magic to making sure that his goal and purpose successfully bears fruit, to which it would prove very, very useful for their planning to exactly take place and for it to beginning to solidify as well on that very predicament time, to which the dark magic users agreed, then that is exactly what they'll do as well. On the actual 26th of April, the leader of the organization has asked everyone else to reconvene on a dark, misty cave where they all exactly presented themselves in their shadowy astral projection, to where they can actually conceal their true identities and to their true identities and all of that as well, to where they all exactly began on speaking on furthering their plans and their sole purpose and goal, to where the leader exactly began to informing them that the great original Lord of Magic is dead and the power vacuum within the Shadow Empire has consumed it all, has really managed to thrive, has really managed to create a turmoil within the Shadow Empire itself, to which all its Shadow Empire warlords and commanders are completely waging war against one another, to where the members precisely agreed that it's time for them to furthering their new plans and the next step of the precipitation of their goal as well, to where the leader precisely told all the other members it's time for them to begin the next step of the evolutionary changing of their plans as well. On the actual 27th of May, the leader of the organization was quietly able to rule a powerful entire dark-winded nation under his sole control, with the entire world, with the entire alien civilization, with the entire supernatural civilization under his sole control, to where he remained at the tallest building of the tower, to where the other original member of the organization was able to exactly telling him that it's time for them to begin their full preparation, since they were able to receiving a powerful note from the alien, from the entire Sacred Great Nation invitation, telling them that it's time for them to change in the coordinates of their planning in order to know exactly how far they can be getting with a goal, and with a further step of the realization of their goal as well, to where the leader completely told the original member that it's time for them to particularly do that as well. On the actual 26th of June, the leader of the organization was able to meet up with Lord Boy, who is known as the new Lord of Magic, who's a founder and leader of Sinister Magic, which is another powerful ancient ancient elite criminal organization with its own destructive goals and plans as well, to where they literally presented themselves in their shadowy astral projection, telling the other leader that it's time for them to begin with the next step of the evolutionary chaining of the goal, and on the sole purpose of the new directive change of the goal as well. To a Lord Boy completely agreed that it's time for them to proceed with the next step phasing of his goal of his organization, so that the members of his organization can assist him by furthering the step of the evolutionary chain, which could change the balance of the outcome of the goaling and of the planning. To the leader himself precisely agreed with Lord Boy, since they both presented themselves in the shadowy astral projection as well. On the 13th of July, the leader of the organization was able to summon everyone else on the actual hands of the monster statue, to where they began a powerful sealing ritual in sealing the powers and the abilities of a powerful and beautiful warlock creature, and taking his powers away, and by extracting inside the monster statue, to where they were all able to do it, and into where they're all were able to actually doing it by standing on the actual hands of the monster statue, where in the shadowy astral projection, to where the leader beginning explaining the goals of the organization to the newest members, while all the other original members know exactly where they stand within the organization. on the actual 15th of August, the leader of the organization was able to meet up with the masked individual on the great village, which was able to rule and conquer, since he's quietly proclaimed as a godlike savior and a being, to where the masked individual known as the Iron Mask Man was able to be within the tower shadows, as the other two original members exactly told him that he has completely arrived. The leader was able to exactly speak with the mask collaborator, as the Iron Mask collaborator told him that Universal Man's power is very needed for the monster statue to begin its full process, and for it to begin obtaining a host, so that the host and its greater individual can begin transforming in its greater powerful stage. To where the leader exactly agreed with the mask greater collaborator that Universal Man's powers are definitely quite needed. But in doing so, the Iron Mask Man told the leader never to underestimate the power of the Universal Heroes, which makes them all deadly and too powerful, since all the other deadly organizations of the past powerful competitors have been complaining and have also been spouting the same thing as they always did, exactly stating that the Universal Heroes are too powerful not to be taken lightly, and not to repeat the same failings and mistakes as they quietly did. To where the leader precisely agreed that is on exactly what he'll do, and the other member exactly told the Masked Man not to underestimate them as well, that we also too possess powers that they don't even exactly imagine, or can fully can literally comprehend it. To where the Iron Mask Man was precisely right about that, and he completely decided it's best that he actually disappeared. With that being said, and with everything else being heavily organized, then the preparations are all set for them to actually begin going with the next step of the plan as well. On the actual 20th of September, the organization began to reassemble to begin the full sealing process of the Dark Wizard's powers within the ancient monster statue, to where the leader of the organization began telling the newest members that it's up to them to get the next powerful supernatural vampire creature and bring it right here for the next sealing process, which will take 15 months. Within those 15 months, they must begin to maintain the heavy scrutiny, and they must begin to remain low, which is very crucial for the future plans to begin taking place. To where the newest members begin to agree in the shadowy astral projection during the sealing ritual itself as well. On the actual 21 of October, the members of the Four Nation Hunters began literally intercepting the most powerful mercenaries and assassins, which they began literally fighting up against them. The two newest members were completely waging battle up against the Four Nation Hunters of the Intergalactic Coalition within the ancient ruins of the mountain, with the assassins and mercenaries heavily equipped with destructive and highly compatible technology as well. To where the leader of the organization told the newest member to withdraw from the battle, as he quietly able to pick up and learn something very specifically about the Four Nation Hunters, who are highly equipped and highly powerful due to them working together with the allies of the Universal Heroes. So where the two new members agreed that it's best that they withdraw in order not to create a more more powerful, more powerful and more powerful and more powerful and dangerous battle, which will only get more deadly, which will only draw more deadly attention to the aid as well, to which it disappeared as well. On the actual 25th of November, the organization itself and all the other members began presenting themselves on the shadowy astral projection within a dark cave that had powerful ancient statues of wooden monsters and creatures and powerful beings and unknown creatures and powerful hybrid creatures and powerful hybrid creatures of werewolves and vampires and of other warlock and witches, hybrids and creatures, all of that around the entire ancient dark cave, to where the leader of the organization began explaining to the members that the members of the Universal Heroes do pose a threat to their goal and to their common interest, and that it will be wise not for them to underestimate them, especially now that the leader himself is needed for the sealing process that's about to begin taking place. To all the other members begin agree that Grayson Ferris Unity is, after all, the chosen one who killed the original Lord of Magic, who was also a greater inspiration to them and only to the rest of the other members as well. To where the other members begin to agree that one of them or one of the other two or one of the other three selected groups of the organization must be ready to take on the mighty Universal Heroes and the rest of his teammates and allies, to which the leader began stating who'll be more than willing and more than worthy enough to begin into taking the highest mission of all in order to retrieving Universal Man and bringing him here for the sealing ritual. The three newest members begin to volunteer since they possess the most power and the most devastating ability, since they can take on the mighty Universal Heroes, since they know very well how powerful and how destructive they can all become. The leader quietly told them never to repeat the same mistakes and failings as the other organizations did, and never to take him and never to underestimate Universal Man's power and his ability, that his love comes from the members of his teammates, which makes them deadly and terrifying. It would be wise not to repeat the same mistakes as all the other three newest members exactly reassured him. They know exactly what they're getting themselves into, and they very well quietly know exactly what they literally getting themselves into as well. On the actual 9th of December, the organization exactly remained within the shadows for the past few weeks in order to try to maintaining its entire ancient work and mission and goal, in order to making sure that the Universal Heroes never picked up any aid of them, especially with the Sacred Great Nations and with the 4 Nation Hunter Elders working in hand with them and fully collaborating with them. The leader thought it's best that it's time for them to actually stand down and see exactly how the war between the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders might go on. On the 19th of January, the leader of the organization was able to reconvene with the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders in a dark temple, telling them that the organization would give them more powerful consideration if they, in return, can exactly provide them with great mercenaries and with great assassins. In return, their pact would still remain sealed, since they know everything about sacred history and about its true purpose and nature. And the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders reassured the leader of the organization that they'll be more than willing to provide them with great resources and great influential help, to which would seem very crucial for them as well. On the actual 29th of February, the members of the organization all reconvene on an ancient dark cave in the shadowy astral projection form, to where the leader exactly told them that everything else is set and the preparations are ready to go, as the newest member, who was also a powerful mask member, also joined in within the meeting and exactly told them that they must begin with the next step of the preparation. And he also quietly warned the members of the organization never to underestimate the power and the leadership of the Universal Heroes and of their allies, which would be too deadly and too terrifying, as they all have seen that with their competitors suffering the consequences of their ultimate plans and goals being foiled, to where they all precisely agree. And the leader exactly told the members it's time for them to furthering our goals and our plans in a more higher stage, as they all precisely agree on that as well. Despite this, guys, this ancient organization is a very powerful organization, a very ancient and very powerful organization that's been actively for many centuries and for many decades. The members of the organization are very powerful super villains and very ancient, and the leader is exceptional above all of them. They all possess driven dark abilities and dark forbidden powers and greater secrets of their own and mysterious techniques of their own, mastering the power of fire, water, earth, and mastering the power of water, earth, and mist abilities and great illusionary abilities, and with the power of summoning, resurrection, teleportation, illusion casting, resurrection itself, and the power of opening portals, interdimensional traveling, manipulating the great elemental powers of shadow and light. And the leader is, after all, the most powerful of all the other members, as well as the collaborator, as well as the other collaborators who are also powerful, and the original members. They are ancient and powerful, deadly criminals, very wise and very intelligent, very influential, very powerful, and very ruthless and merciless, as each member possesses a dark, devastating, mysterious ability as well. And they're a very ancient and very shadowy organization known as the Power of Change, meaning they work with the goal of evolving everything and controlling the evolutionary chain of sacred society and the rest of its history, its creatures, its beings, its wars, the sacred galactic dark war, and all of its other ancient forces of evil, which has been their primary objectivity and goal. And by collecting powerful powers from ancient supernatural creatures and by sealing them inside the monster statue, so that one of the members will become the host, so that they can transform into the host creature and become a powerful godlike being who will lead the organization to greater, higher hopes as well, to which is what they believe in as well. They don't utilize the power of shadow energy or wild energy, but they utilize its greatest potential by learning its techniques and its forbidden powers of mastering shadows and light powers and abilities, and the power of traveling through space-time and to creating powerful dark illusions. They are all wise and very highly ambitious. Each member has their own reasons for joining with the organization. As I said before, they are all the great apprentices and great proteges of the original progenitors, such as the Shadow Founder, the Sacred Founder, the Dark Sacred Founder, and all the other ancient founders, which makes them also as well as the progenitors of the sacred creatures of the sacred universe. They are well known of sacred history, very ancient and very powerful, but the organization remains unknown since it's known as the Power of Change, and which makes it very dangerous and very powerful. They have greater sleeper agents and greater mercenaries and assassins at their disposal. Each member controls each powerful sister world, nation, group, or powerful greater group of their own, and they literally rule it with great authority. And the leader is known to be respected and very highly merciless. He possesses the most devastating, most unknown powers of all, which he describes as the Omega greater founder of all the other members. Due to that, the other original members are also powerful, highly resourceful, and also highly skilled, and they are very ancient, and which makes the organization very dark due to its goals and due to its own nature in remaining in the shadows of the entire sacred society's histories and events, which they are the most ancient of all, very much quite the most ancient of all, and it makes them very deadly and very dangerous. They all learned the hard way that the universal heroes must not be underestimated and they must never be taken lightly, and they always learn not to repeat their failings or to ever do that again as well. They're very good in maintaining the individual bases, such as many hideouts and many central headquarters, which is a powerful big village that the leader rules in, and the other hideouts of which are quietly scattered throughout the entire magical world, planet, civilization, throughout the forest, throughout the darkest caves, and all of that, in order for them to convene and meet. They all create a shadowy astral projection of themselves in order for them to meet and discuss their plans and furthering of their goal. Very wise and very powerful and very dangerous, good with the power of summoning and good with the power of casting forbidden techniques and greater powers. Each member is very powerful, criminal, ancient, and very dangerous and very ruthless and very highly aggressive. According to the Four Nation Hunters, these ancient organizations and the members of them are very powerful, and they all have their reasons for joining forces with the other most powerful, dangerous ancient criminals, and they are very shown to have the power of being merciless and ruthless and very highly aggressive, and they're very good in analyzing their enemies' powers and their very forbidden techniques. They collect weapons, ancient objects, powerful crystals, ancient weaponry, forming powerful alliances with the Shadow Empire warlords, commanders, dark druids, and dark witches, creating sleeper agents and operatives within their ranks in order to manipulating human society and other worlds within the process. They are very ancient and very dark and very mysterious, and they're known not to show any remorse to their actions as long as their goals always work, and as long as they're furthering their goals and a plan in a higher stage within the evolutionary chain to controlling the sacred wars of the sacred universe and of the entire sacred society. Well, that's it for today's guys episode. I'll exactly see you tomorrow on Thursday. Let me exactly now upload this episode and get it done over with before the entire recording cuts me off. Either way, guys, I'm very grateful for your guys' support. Today's episode is about the history of the power of change. Now that you exactly know about it, ancient and powerful, dangerous, shadowy criminals, very powerful and very mystical and very dark, as there are ancient writings and ancient texts and paintings about them and ancient statues about them all over the entire sacred universe and throughout the entire sacred magic universe as well, which are quite unread throughout sacred history as well. Either way, they are very ancient and very powerful and very dangerous and very highly skeptical and highly key observers. Makes them very, very, very deadly, not to be underestimated. Either way, this is done for today's episode. I'll see you tomorrow on Thursday for the next episode. Enjoy your day and have a blessed day. I'll upload this. Appreciate your guys' support. Like and subscribe in Billy Yo's channel in YouTube and as well in TikTok. And enjoy your day as well. See you tomorrow on Thursday. And love you. Bye.